laughing. Hello, welcome to my YouTube channel. It's going to be called Two Cultures, One Love, and it's going to just be about...
Two cultures, one Deen.
Oh yeah, two cultures, one Deen. Because me and my husband are from two cultures and we have one Deen. We're both Muslim. We have both been Muslim for a while. I was born Muslim and then he converted when he was like 13. And I met him when he was like in his 20s. So he had been a Muslim for a while by the time I met him. Not that that matters to me. Like, he could have been a fresh revert and I would have still married him. But I think it's important to him because a lot of people assume that he reverted for me and he wants to make sure that everybody knows that he did it for God. But really, it's all good. It's all good. Did you want to say something?
No.
I understand that's something that's...
You can do a marriage and still do it for God.
Exactly.
That's just not my case.
That's just not his case. And he, like, wants to be clear that that's not how it went down. And I personally think either way, you know, if you're a Muslim, you're a Muslim. It doesn't matter how you got here. What matters is you're here and we all love each other and we are one ummah, hence the name. Two cultures, one Deen. So my background, as you can see, is African. I'm from East Africa and my husband is from Minnesota. So he's like a little bit of Ojibwe, a little bit of Norwegian, a little bit of German.
A lot of German.
A lot of German, a lot of Irish, and no one else will be mentioned because he doesn't respect the other two. Because it's France and Britain. Anyways, and honestly, it has not been hard loving each other and being in a marriage, coming from different cultures. And I think that's really because we're both Muslim and we both have like Islamic values. Every now and then it'll be like, oh my God, that's so weird. You do this? Yeah. And then, occasionally it will be like, I'll think something is Islamic and it'll turn out it's just my culture. So we've definitely had a lot of those moments where, because my background is, I'm Somali, Ethiopian, Kenyan, and then there's a couple of others that I'm not really connected to, but I did find out I was through DNA testing, and that's like, I think it was Angola. But it's basically someone who was in Kenya, who wasn't from Kenya. That's my hypothesis. I wouldn't really know because I found out through DNA testing that I was from Angola. Anyways, so because of the Somali part of my background, which has a huge presence in the way that I was raised, just because like we live in Minnesota. So I think like everything I do, like there's a lot of things that I do where I'll be like, oh, this is Islamic, but it won't be Islamic. It'll just be Somali culture. And he'll point that out and he'll just be like, stop eating your ice cream on my camera. I can see you. Anyways, he'll be like, this isn't Islam. This is just your Somali culture, blah, 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 which is totally fine because sometimes there's beautiful things that I do that's just Somali culture. And I'm very proud of Somali people because I don't have a lot of those moments with them. Anyways, what was I talking about? What were you gonna say?
I was going to say that we came from different ethnic backgrounds, but we had in common an established sense of nationality. Because you had came to America when you were 10.
Oh yeah, that part too.
So all of your formative years between 10 years old and the time we married were spent in the United States, and you had gone through the academic system, and you had gone through college, or you were I'm educated. So just kidding. There's a level of exposure to a culture that's common between the both of us.
Yeah. I mean, there's
and
definitely...
also, because I converted so young, I had a lot of exposure to a lot of Somali culture by the time we met.
Right.
So I think that softened the blow. Things that I did weren't necessarily weird to you. In fact, you might have been in for more of a culture shock than I was.
Yeah, I definitely had like things that I had, like I didn't know, just quick example, the difference between a casserole and a hot dish coming in, which I still have not bothered to memorize, and I will never.
Nakla soup or kuka.
Okay. And there's like a couple of specifically Minnesotan, European stuff, like white Minnesotan stuff that I wasn't familiar with. But in terms of just being physically in Minnesota and knowing the restaurants around us, the parks, you know, the general understanding of how people interact with each other in Minnesota, we both had that established. And then him just being Muslim at such a young age and in proximity to the large Somali population here, he was familiar with most of my culture, so it was never like I had to explain anything to him or teach him anything. So most of it was just like from him to me, like he already knew, like because the majority of the Muslim community here is Somali, so he was very already acclimated, which I don't necessarily feel any particular way about it, because I think if you're gonna go ahead and marry outside of your culture, then you can't be like, oh my God, my husband doesn't know XYZ. You're marrying outside of your culture. Anyways, I think I said this already, but my name is Fatima and this is Jacob. And this is gonna be our multi-intercultural, two cultures, one Deen channel. And we're just gonna be talking about it. So, who are we and how did we meet? We met at the masjid. I saw him, he saw me. He said hi, I said hi. And then the next day, I was sitting next to the imam, or wow. I got a call from the imam. Okay, so me and him, we met on an app. It's called Salams. And it's really good because we're married and we have been for a couple of years now. We actually met on the app and it was just starting out, and it was like, I remember my friend told me about it, and like basically everybody was just making fun of it, and then I just got on it because I like to get on things that people make fun of. And then my husband was also on it, and then we met, and then 3 months later we met in real life, and then it was really hard to get married. But that's another story for another time. Eventually, I told God, I was like, Ya Allah, just give me this man. And I will figure out the rest. And here I am with my man, figuring out the rest. And it's been good figuring it out. Oh, what a journey it has been. So generally you can expect from our channel, we'll just be like, it'll just be us. We'll be sharing, well, it'll be me, and then my husband's gonna be nearby and I'll ask for his input here and there. But it's just gonna be me because I'm the beauty. He's the brains. Anyways, we're just gonna do like fun little challenges, like trying each other's cultural foods, and we can have like some of the moments where our culture shows up and then it's different from Islam. It's usually neutral. If it's not neutral, then obviously we just pick Islam. And just like raising our kids and cultural values and traditions and stuff like that. And of course, if we ever have anybody comment on videos, we'll answer questions that people might have if anybody ever sees any of these videos and has a question. Our biggest message is always love and marriage in Islam are built on mutual understanding and faith and respect. If you are in an intercultural Muslim relationship or thinking about it, make sure to subscribe and turn on your notifications. We want to hear from you too. Leave a comment below.